Namaskar. Welcome to this second module of Building Back Business from Crisis. We will talk about getting your workplace ready to restart business. Are you ready to address the COVID-19 challenges in your business? And is your equipment and machinery in order? Did you clean out your factory and warehouses? If so, we can start. First of all, let us address the issue of COVID-19. COVID-19 is transferred through coughing, sneezing, and talking by respiratory contact. For that, we need to use masks and maintain coughing etiquette. So cough in your elbow and other measures. It's also transferred by close contact, because if you touch with your hands and have the virus on you and put it on the face, it can still come there. So we need to focus on avoiding contact of hands with commonly touched surfaces and people not getting too close. So there's basically 5 ways of minimizing COVID transmission in the workplace. First is to survey and isolate people who might have infections. So people feeling unwell should basically recover at home and not come into the workplace. Second is to maintain distance at all times. This would normally mean something like 1.5 meters or 5 to 6 feet apart in standstill. And if you move around, this distance becomes larger. Then it's avoiding contact transfers, so not touching any surfaces to avoid the accidental transfer of the virus into the face and then into the respiratory system. Then, of course, also practice hygiene, so sanitize in particular your hands. And as a 5th component, we can use personal protective equipment as an add-on measure. So let us start with the first one, to screen the health of all staff, contractors and visitors before entering the company's premises. This can be done by a self-declaration. People declare that they don't have symptoms. Then, of course, we can check the temperature, which they have with a contactless temperature scanner. If you have more than 37.5 degrees, 100 Fahrenheit, you do not enter and you seek medical attention. If it's more than 38, then maybe there's a case to investigate in the company who has been in contact. And then, of course, also restrict non-essential entries, so food deliveries, other things, and also avoid people who are at risk because of age or underlying conditions. But in this whole issue of isolation, please keep in mind that we should avoid stigmatization of people feeling unwell. And also keep in mind that even people who are feeling well can be still carriers of the virus. Secondly is to maintain the distance. So for this, we need to decongest your business to enable 5-6 feet interpersonal distance for everyone at any time. In all areas, we should avoid sitting opposite each other. So not opposite on the table, not opposite on the conveyor belt. We can look at staggered shift times so that we don't start all at the same time, but with 5-10 minutes difference. We go at different times to lunch. We have designated pathways and location markers where we do things, and we minimize physical gatherings. We can also disable half of the seats, half of the toilets, half of the taps, etc. In the factory and warehouse, we should look at a one-way flow of goods and people, so people cannot run into each other. All activities aligned to specific locations, and spacing out work locations, so putting work locations further apart, or if that's not possible, put up some divider or sheeting in between. Then, of course, it's also avoiding contact transfers, so minimize the risk of contact transfers by reducing and eliminating touch points. And touch points are surfaces which are addressed by many people at the same time. So in all areas, use sensors or food switches on doors, lights, machinery, and so on. And discourage the touching of railings and guards on stairs and so on. Encourage operation of the door with your elbow, with your feet, and increase ventilation and reduce air conditioning. If you use air conditioning, make sure there's proper filters in there. Everywhere in the factory, in the warehouse, you could first of all hold incoming goods for 1-2 days, so then the risk of the virus transmission is minimized. Minimize then also the manual handling and implement that one workstation is one person, no changes during the day, and sanitize workplaces and tools between shifts with an alcohol-based sanitizer. In terms of business processes, we would recommend to go paperless, go cashless, discontinue biometric systems, and terminate the use of reusable cups, plates, etc. Fourth is then practice hygiene, which is first of all a personal hygiene, so stop sharing, adopt healthy habits and regular hand wash and sanitization. Observe the coughing etiquette and use own water bottles and no spitting. In terms of cleaning and sanitization, we need a pre-start cleanup and fumigation, frequent cleaning of high-touch points like doorknobs, surfaces and so on, and wipe working surfaces and objects, tools between shifts. In terms of staff facilities, we remove common towels, provide healthy food, so only cooked or pre-packed foods, eat at a desk where possible and not opposite each other on the tables, alternate seating in the cars and buses. And we can complement with personal protective equipment. First of all, in regular use out of the house and at work, it would be a face cover, a mask or gloves. But if we're dealing with a suspected case, then there's more need for a full body suit, eye protection and gloves, but it would not happen in a normal working environment. Of course, important, before you put on any PPEs or remove it, sanitize your hands. Otherwise, with your hands and putting it on your face, you can infect yourself. And personal protective equipment like masks and gloves are to be collected separately and treated as suspected waste for COVID-19. Of course, we also need to look at our equipment and utilities. Are they operational and undertake the necessary maintenance? Machinery and accessories like tools, dies, lubrication, hydraulics, where is there tear and wear? Has there been dust accumulated? Are there some rusts or leaks? And look at utilities for the power, steam, compressed air, cooling, lighting, all get it checked in terms of buildings and vehicles as well. And let us not forget to look at the fire and safety and environmental systems. It's also an opportunity to clean out your factory. You are reorienting workstations, so use this opportunity to then also improve the workflows and operations. Remove unnecessary, unwanted items to a dedicated area, put a red tag around it. If they're not picked up in a month, then nobody needs it anymore and it can be disposed of. You can also look at putting signs in there so that it's visually clear how the workflow should go, and that is then referred to as a visual factory. Are you ready to restart? Is your machinery in working order? Is your factory tidied up? Did you take measures to prevent the spread of COVID? If so, we wish you success in getting your business started again, and do access the resource materials for further tips and hints.